All right, hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling one of those fascinating characters in anime, Itachi Uchiha from Naruto. Now, if you're not familiar with him, don't worry, we'll bring you up to speed. But even if you think you know Itachi, trust me, there's always more to discover with this guy. So we've got his Wikipedia page and a pretty detailed character breakdown, kind of like our treasure maps for today. But really, it's the journey, right? Getting into the heart of what makes Itachi tick.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Itachi's story is one of those that really gets under your skin. He's just got this aura of mystery and complexity, and that's what keeps fans coming back for more, I think.
Yeah, definitely. You know what's crazy? He's first shown as this straight-up villain, this stone-cold ninja who wipes out his entire clan. I mean, talk about a first impression, right? But then, as things unfold, you start to see there's so much more going on beneath the surface.
Exactly. And that's what's so brilliant about how his character is written. We slowly peel back layers and we discover his motives are way more complicated than just being some evil dude. He loves his village, Konoha, and he's fiercely devoted to his little brother, Sasuke. But the way he chooses to protect them, well, let's just say it's not your typical hero story.
Right. It's not like, oh, I'm going to wear a cape and save the day. It's much deeper and darker than that.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's dig into this whole wiping out his clan thing. It's not exactly a walk in the park, right? So, what events led him to that point?
To get that, we got to look at the Uchiha Clan and their place in Konoha. They were ridiculously powerful with their Sharingan, this unique eye technique that basically gave them superpowers.
Hold up, Sharingan. Just for, anyone listening who might need a quick remander, what exactly is that?
Yeah, good point. The Sharingan is this ability passed down through the Uchiha bloodline. It's like having superpowered eyes that can predict your movements, copy your techniques, even trap you in illusions. It's a huge deal in the Naruto world and a big reason why the Uchiha clan was so feared, but also, sadly, why they faced so much trouble.
Got it. So they have this amazing power, but things aren't exactly all sunshine and rainbows between them and the rest of the village. The sources say something about the Uchiha feeling isolated, like outsiders in their own home.
Right. That feeling of being pushed aside and resentment just grew over time. They felt blame for things unfairly, and it pushed them towards wanting to break away, even if it meant a full-on rebellion.
Wow, so you have this powerful clan brewing with resentment, plotting to take over, and then you've got Itachi right smack in the middle of it all.
And let's not forget, he's still a teenager at this point. But he's already considered one of the most skilled ninjas in the village. Graduated from the academy at 7, a chunin at 10, even captain of the ANBU Black Ops by 12.
Well, ANBU, that's like a super secret ninja squad, right?
Precisely. The ANBU are like the elite special forces, handling the most dangerous missions, usually in total secrecy. And Itachi was leading them as a teenager. Shows you how talented and dedicated he was. But it also meant he was deeply involved in village affairs, caught between his clan and his loyalty to Konoha.
Man, that's intense. Imagine being a teenager with that much responsibility on your shoulders, trying to stop a war before it even starts. Sounds like a recipe for some seriously tough choices. And from what we know about Itachi, he definitely didn't shy away from making them.
He didn't. And that brings us to the night that changed everything, the night of the Uchiha Clan massacre. That's a turning point in his story, and things get really heavy from there.
Okay, let's dive into it. What exactly went down that night?
Well, Itachi was backed into a corner. He was given this awful ultimatum by Danzo, a high-ranking official who had a, let's say, practical way of handling things. Danzo basically told him, you eliminate your clan and save the village from civil war, or we all watch them die, including Sasuke.
Whoa, hold on, are you serious? That's not just a tough choice, that's a complete nightmare. And he was just 13 at the time.
13 years old, yeah. Think about the weight of that decision, the mental and emotional struggle he must have gone through. He was forced to become judge, jury, and executioner, all to stop a war that could have destroyed Konoha.
So he actually went through with it. He chose to protect the village, even if it meant giving up everything and everyone he knew.
He did, and the details and the sources about that night are bone-chilling, Picture a 13-year-old boy carrying out this mission, knowing he's doing it for the right reasons, but still, he even had to face his own parents, and right before they told him they were proud and begged him to look after Sasuke.
Man, that's just heartbreaking. To have to kill your own family, knowing they want you to do it to protect your brother, that's a level of sacrifice most people can't even fathom.
It is. And to make things even more complicated, Itachi knew just killing the clan wouldn't be enough. He had to make sure Sasuke would survive, that he'd become strong enough to defend himself. So he turned himself into the bad guy, the target of Sasuke's rage.
That's messed up, but in a way I kind of get it. He wanted to make sure Sasuke wouldn't be hunted, that he'd have a reason to fight, a reason to push himself, but how did he actually pull that off?
He used his Sharingan, a technique called Tsukuyomi specifically. It's this powerful illusion that traps the victim in a world the user creates. Itachi used it to force Sasuke to relive the massacre again and again, planting this burning desire for revenge in him.
So he basically traumatized his own little brother on purpose.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was a cruel thing to do. There's no denying that. But from Itachi's point of view, it was a necessary evil. He was playing the long game, a game of manipulation and sacrifice, all to protect Sasuke and push him down a path that would eventually make him strong.
That's some tough love, man. It's hard to wrap your head around what must have been going through his mind.
Absolutely. And that complexity, that mix of love, sacrifice, and ruthlessness, that's what makes Itachi such a fascinating character. He's not your typical hero, not by a long shot, but he's still a hero in his own way.
It's crazy, right? He basically sets up this whole tragedy knowing everyone will hate him for it, all to guide Sasuke in a specific direction. It's twisted, but kind of brilliant, too, in a strategic sense.
It really shows how incredibly smart Itachi is and how he's always thinking steps ahead. But it also brings up these really hard questions. Was there no other way? Could he have saved both his clan and the village without going to such extremes?
It's tough to say, for sure. But one thing's clear. Itachi was ready to do the dirty work, the stuff no one else wanted to touch. He faced the darkness head-on to protect the light.
Yeah, exactly. And that choice to become the outcast, to carry that weight all alone, it defined his whole path from that point on. He leaves Konoha and joins the Akatsuki, this group of rogue ninjas with their own, questionable plans.
Wait a minute, he joined the bad guys. I thought he was all about protecting the village.
It might seem strange, but joining the Akatsuki was actually another strategic move for Itachi. It let him keep tabs on them, to mess with their plans from the inside. He was basically a double agent, working in secret to shield Konoha from even bigger threats.
So even within the Akatsuki, he's still playing the long game. Did he ever go back to Konoha after the massacre?
He did, a couple of times. One that comes to mind is when he snuck into the village after the third Hokage died. On the surface, it looked like he was after Naruto, the nine-tailed fox Jinchuriki, but the sources suggest he was really there to check on you, Sasuke, to make sure you were safe and see how you were doing.
Whoa, talk about a protective older brother.
Yeah.
Even after all that, he's still watching over me, even though at that point, I was literally trying to kill him. It's kind of messed up, but also, kind of sweet.
This really shows the depth of his love and how committed he was to his goal. Your survival and your growth. But it also highlights that, he was a master manipulator. He was always pulling the strings, always one step ahead.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit and talk about his fighting style. The sources say he was a total Sharingan expert, even better than most Uchiha. How did that play out in battles?
Itachi was a prodigy, even among the Uchiha. He wasn't just good, he was brilliant. He used his Sharingan to analyze his opponents, figure out their next move, and then use their weaknesses against them. He could even trap them in these crazy, powerful illusions with Tsukuyomi, the same one he used on you. It was a seriously scary weapon.
Yeah, I can definitely vouch for that. But he wasn't just about illusions, right? He was also a beast in taijutsu, hand-to-hand combat, and in jutsu, using chakra to create all sorts of techniques. He was like the ultimate ninja package.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he was a master strategist, always thinking several moves ahead. He didn't just rely on brute force, he used his brain and his skills to outsmart and take down even the toughest opponents.
Like that time he fought Kakashi, right? Kakashi's a legendary ninja, a genius in his own right. But even he couldn't match Itachi's strategic thinking and Sharingan skills.
That fight really showed everyone how amazing Itachi was. He used a mix of illusions, hand-to-hand combat, and strategy to completely dominate Kakashi. It was like a masterclass in using your abilities efficiently and turning your opponent's weaknesses against them.
And of course, the fight everyone wants to hear about. His final showdown with Sasuke, years of pent-up resentment, anger, thirst for revenge, it all came pouring out in that battle.
And that fight revealed so much about both of you brothers. You, Sasuke, consumed by hatred, determined to avenge your clan. And Itachi, pushing you to your absolute limit, knowing that only by beating him could you finally escape the cycle of revenge.
And let's not forget, he had another goal in that fight, to free me from Orochimaru's control. Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sannin, was trying to manipulate me, wanted to steal my body for his own twisted plans. Even while fighting me, Itachi was still trying to protect me from that threat.
It adds another layer to his character, Even while going head-to-head with you, his brother, he's still looking out for you, trying to ensure your safety and help you unlock your true potential.
He knew he was dying, didn't he? He was sick, battling some unknown illness. But he still chose to fight me, to push me to the breaking point, all while carrying that secret.
And in those final moments, he managed to achieve both his goals. He freed you from Orochimaru and, maybe even more importantly, forced you to face your hatred, your anger, all that pain. He wanted you to see the truth, to understand the world beyond revenge.
And then he died. Right there in front of me with a smile on his face. It was so confusing, heartbreaking, and weirdly kind of freeing at the same time. I felt everything at once: grief, anger, confusion, and then eventually a tiny bit of understanding.
And that understanding, that shift in perspective, that was his final gift to you. He knew that revealing the truth about the massacre, about why he did what he did, would be incredibly painful. But he also knew it was the only way to break you free from that hate and set you on a new path. He was right. Learning the truth about the massacre, his sacrifice, the burden he carried all those years, it changed everything for me, flipped my world upside down, made me question everything I thought I knew about him, about my clan, about Konoha.
And that, in a sense, was his ultimate victory. He gave up everything: his family, his reputation, his life, to protect you, to protect Konoha, and to shatter the cycle of hatred. He died as a villain in the eyes of many, but his actions ultimately brought peace and saved countless lives.
It's a heavy legacy to carry, knowing his whole life was basically a carefully planned performance designed to get me to a specific outcome. But it's also incredibly inspiring. It showed me that true strength doesn't come from power or revenge, but from love, sacrifice, and the will to protect the people you care about.
It's a lesson that speaks to fans all over the world. Itachi's story is about how complex humans are, the blurred lines between good and evil, and how powerful love and sacrifice can be.
It really gets you thinking, what would you do if you were in his position? Could you make the sacrifices he did, carry the burden he carried, for the sake of the greater good?
It's a question worth asking ourselves, but one thing's for sure: Itachi Uchiha's story will keep fascinating and inspiring fans for years to come.
Yeah, it's definitely heavy stuff, but there's also this weird sense of hope that comes with it. Itachi's story shows us that even when things are super dark, even when you're facing choices that seem impossible, there's always a chance for redemption, for growth, for things to change for the better.
Exactly. That's what makes Itachi's character so powerful. He makes us rethink our ideas of good and evil, makes us face those gray areas where things aren't so black and white. He shows us that even people who seem like villains can be driven by love and a need to protect others.
He was definitely a master manipulator, no doubt about it. But all those manipulations, as messed up as some of them were, they were all ultimately for a bigger purpose, right? He was playing this long game with incredibly high stakes, and he was willing to do whatever it took to win, even if it meant sacrificing his own happiness, his reputation, his life.
And he wasn't just doing it for himself. He was doing it for the village, for the future, for you, Sasuke. He saw the potential in you, the potential to break free from that cycle of hatred and become a true protector of Konoha.
And he was right. As painful as his sacrifice was, it lit a fire in me. It forced me to confront the darkness inside myself, to question the path I was on, and to choose a different future. I wouldn't be who I am today without his influence, without his guidance, without his love.
That's a powerful legacy to carry, isn't it? Knowing that your brother, the person you hated for so long, was actually the one who loved you the most, who gave up everything for you.
It's a lot to take in, even now. But it's also incredibly motivating. It pushes me to live up to his ideals, to protect the village he cherished, to honor his memory by striving for peace and understanding, just like he did.
And that's the heart of Itachi's story, I think. It's a call to action, a challenge to rise above our own selfishness and make sacrifices for the greater good, to choose love over hate, and to fight for a better future, even when things seem impossible.
It's a message that hits home for fans everywhere. Itachi's journey, his struggles, his sacrifices, they speak to something deep within us. We're drawn to his complexity, his strength, his willingness to do what needs to be done, even when it hurts.
He reminds us that heroes don't always look the part, that they don't always play by the rules, and that sometimes the most selfless acts are the ones that hurt the most.
So for everyone out there wrestling with Itachi's story, trying to make sense of his choices, his motivations, his legacy, remember this. He was a man driven by love, a love so deep, so unwavering that he was willing to sacrifice everything for it. He was a protector, a guardian, a silent hero, working from the shadows to safeguard the future he believed in.
And even though his path was full of darkness, his ultimate goal was always the same:
to create a world where his brother, where all of us, could live in peace.
Itachi Uchiha, a villain to some, a hero to others, but in the end, a character whose story will keep challenging us, inspiring us, and moving us like few others can. And that wraps up our deep dive into the world of Itachi Uchiha. We hope you've gained a deeper understanding of this incredible character and maybe even started thinking about sacrifice, love, and the choices we make when life throws us curveballs. If you enjoyed the episode, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the worlds you love.